Finding life a bit complex? Confusing? Aware that your old strategies aren't working? Why not ask Pam and Marilyn? This is the Irreverent Therapists, and we're here to add some clarity, humor, and a bit of what might be considered blasphemy to your day.
Hello, everybody. This is Marilyn Bradford with the Irreverent Therapist, and I am joined by my good bud and co-conspirator, Pam Hodling. Hi, Pam.
Hello, Marilyn, and hello, everybody.
So our topic today is, what if you took off your rose-colored glasses and things were actually better? And it's interesting, as I put on my glasses to read this, it was like, what if I took off my dirty glasses and could actually see something?
I do that too sometimes.
Let me find a better. But anyway, glasses do distort things pretty much, no matter what they are. So I'm going to read our little description here, and then we will launch ourselves. Most of us believe that it's helpful to put a positive spin on everything. The difficulty is those rose-colored glasses blind us to what is actually going on and trap us in ineffectiveness. What if being willing to be aware of what is happening gives you more control over your life? Even if the truth is painful, are you ready to be in charge of your life? And I've been thinking a lot about this topic, partly because my mom is in the hospital, and I met with, the group, the caregivers at a retirement home. That was before she went in the hospital. But basically what it was about is I said, look, I don't want you to sugarcoat anything. I want to know what's going on, period. She said I was with my sister when she died. I was close to my dad when he died. I don't have a problem. She's 97, but I don't want any surprises. I don't want you to keep anything from me. And part of that is I was just so aware that I couldn't plan effectively or even talk with her effectively if I didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And if it's that whole thing of, everything's just fine, don't worry, well, there was plenty to worry about. She ended up in ICU. I think that's an American thing, intensive care unit, because of this infection that came on very suddenly just after I'd gotten there, which is kind of interesting because I was able to be there and advocate for her. So that was one thing about the rose-colored glasses, health. And another thing was a client I had. But before I launch into anything else, I just wondered, Pam, what this brought up for you.
Well, I mean, for me, the whole rose-colored glasses thing, that's very much a place I used to function from. So on the one hand, I was depressed and anxious and miserable as a kid, but at the same time, and perhaps because of, I was always, it was like there's some good thing, there's some good people or good things that could happen. And if I could just, put the rose-colored glasses on and do everything right, I'd get there. And I can just remember that. And the idea of, well, everybody's good inside. And even if they're doing terrible things, there's some good there. And that's the kind of stuff it brings up for me, Marilyn, is where we try to, instead of looking at what is, we try to see things the way we'd like it to be, which actually then makes us ineffectual at actually creating what we'd like it to be.
Oh, wow. Would you say more about that? I think that was like borderline brilliant there. Okay.
Just borderline brilliant?
We'll make brilliant all the way.
Well, so, okay, so let's take an example that everybody has, family, right? If you think about your family of origin, your parents, your siblings, if you had them, most people have some issues with their family that they grew up in. Some have some pretty big issues, some have some little issues. But I had a friend, and most of the people in her family were alcoholic, and she hated going to holiday events, and but it's like there was the family she'd like to have, And every time she would think, oh, it'll be better this time, or, maybe if I can just be this way or that way, things will go easier, that kind of stuff. So to me, that's rose-colored glasses. That's, if I can just get it right, then it'll be more okay. When she
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, when she finally started looking at her family for who they truly were, okay, alcoholics. Yeah, when they're drinking, they don't care about anything. Right. And they sure don't care about her. And, it's like she was able to finally look very realistically at what was going on, engage with them differently. And over several years, she finally did create relationships that worked for her with some of them.
Well, what I loved about that example is you took the rose-colored glasses one step farther. It's not just that, this year it's going to be different because Uncle Jed, the last time I saw him, he really was nice and he wasn't drunk. But it's also that rose-colored glasses thinking that if I be different, if I just do this, if I hide the alcohol, if I'm cheerful to everyone, then it's going to be different, which is also being unwilling to see what we can change and not change. It's rose-colored glasses for ourselves and our own behavior, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like, I can remember growing up feeling like it's a virtue, that it was a good thing. It was something to strive for, to see the good in everybody. And maybe there is good in everybody. I don't know. But if you're not willing
I don't think so.
But what if you're willing to see the good, the bad, and the ugly?
So seeing the good in everyone precluded you actually seeing the bad and the ugly.
Exactly. That's what I used to. That's the rose-colored glasses. It's like you can only see the good, and it's filtering out anything else. I mean, one thing that does, you've heard Marilyn and I talk a lot about your point of view creates your reality. So if I have the point of view that everybody's good, I've got my rose-colored glasses on, it's like I can't see what they're doing that isn't kind, that isn't a contribution to me. I think what we tend to do when we're doing that is go to, there must be something wrong with me.
Right.
Kind of a typical example would be, someone in a romantic relationship and they're all in love and they're like, this is the one, and they've got their rose-colored glasses on because I finally found
the one.
And, everything. Now that I have, everything's going to go happily ever after, right?
Oops.
And actually, maybe this person who you've met and who you're falling for, maybe they have some things about them that are a contribution to you, but maybe they have some stuff that, where they're really not being kind, and you don't allow yourself to see it because you've decided this is it. This is the one. I've got my rose-colored glasses on. If I let anything in that isn't all rosy, the whole thing's going to go kaput. Right? Whereas if you actually take off those glasses and go, wow, who is this that I'm looking at spending my life with, if that's the way it's going, wow, they have some things about them that really work for me, some things about them that don't, am I willing to take the whole package?
That reminds me, back in the old psychotherapy training days, there was a capacity, and I can't remember what it's called, but part of mature development is the capacity to be aware of and hold at the same time the good and the bad.
Yep.
Of course, those are both judgments, but we can get into that later. But really, for a lot of people, the rose-colored glasses is somebody's either all evil or all good, and they don't really have the ability, they haven't developed, not that they couldn't, but they haven't developed the ability to see all of it at the same time.
Well, and I'm going to throw something else in there, which is sometimes it might be they haven't developed the ability, but I think sometimes people just choose to not see the whole picture.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's easier to pretend that everything's rosy.
That whole ignorance is bliss. No,
Yeah.
ignorance will bite you in the butt.
I have this image of like you got your head in the sand with your butt up in the air and you're some animal just about to bite it. You know?
We need a dog called Ignorance who goes around. Yeah, I think you're right. I think some people simply don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Because they think it's going to create too much havoc.
Well, so much of our society is a black and white thing. There's, this is virtuous, this is not, this is okay,
Right.
This is not. When you're functioning from that good, bad, either or, then it's like if you're buying that as real, then allowing yourself to see someone's faults, allowing yourself to see your own faults, and faults. I mean, what's a fault? So maybe I should use a different word, but allowing yourself to see the good, the bad, the ugly about anyone or anything, including yourself. If you're functioning from that either or thing, then allowing yourself to be aware of any of the quote negative, makes the whole person wrong or something.
Right. Well, it's like Gary talks about unconditional love. I love you unconditionally until you do something I don't like, and then I hate you.
Right.
You know?
Right. As if you're willing to come from a space where, hey, I get it. There's good, there's bad, there's ugly. There's, the whole smorgasbord is available to me.
Yes.
I can see you and see exactly what you're choosing and how you're showing up and how that works or doesn't work for me. From that space, you can be aware of some stuff.
Everything. And we'll be back with more about rose-colored glasses.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm Marilyn Bradford of the Irreverent Therapist, and I'm joined by Pam Hodling, and we are talking about why it might be a good idea to take off those rose-colored glasses.
And we were so excited about it, we went right into the break.
we're not supposed to do. Oh, well. I was, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned this client that I have, and I've worked with this person a long time, and she's absolutely brilliant. She's an entrepreneur. She's created beyond this reality. I mean, she's created really unique things. And she has suffered greatly her whole life because of she will not take off. Well, maybe now she has these rose-colored glasses. I mean, and things like, and what does that look like? That looks like hiring someone to build a house or a structure or your restaurant or your business office for you without really asking a lot of questions. Oh, they seem really nice. You know, I'm sure they're a good builder. And then they walk out on you. Or taking a friend into business who turns out to be stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from you over a period of time. It's one of the things I've realized about I want to go two different places, but let me say this thing first.
Yeah, where are you going?
Where am I going? Well, one of the things I realized at working with her is that if you have on rose-colored glasses, you can't actually ask a question. And that's something, you know, Pam and I talk about all the time. If you'd like clarity and ease and you like whatever, ask a question, ask a question, ask a question. But if you have on rose-colored glasses, you've already decided what the answer is, and you can't ask a question, and you can't see anything. I mean, we sort of referred to this before, but you can't see anything that doesn't match what you've already decided is wonderful and good and perfect about this person. So, you know, when someone says, why do I always end up being a victim? I always look to see if they are in the rose-colored glasses department.
Yes, absolutely.
But do you have something you wanted to add here?
Oh, I just want to say I just got this image of we all actually have many, many pairs of rose-colored glasses. We can whip out which pair am I looking through today, but all of them are keeping me from seeing what really is.
Well, here's a question, Pam. You were talking in the beginning about how you were kind of depressed as a kid or teenager. Mm-hmm. Is depression the opposite of rose-colored glasses?
You know, what I'm getting is, okay, and this is, you're seeing Marilyn and I use question in action. She asked the question, I'm looking at my awareness of the energy. So I'm not sitting here going, let me logically think about this. I'm looking at the energy of it. And what I'd say is there is some connection between rose-colored glasses and depression. I would almost go to depression has to do with having rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you get blindsided all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're constantly holding out what you think should be, which is so different than what is. And I think that discordant, you know, the difference in the energy between what you think it should be, what you'd like it to be, what you hope it would be, and what is, if, you know, when you're willing to look at what is, looking at what is very empowering, expansive, and light. When you're trying to have the rose-colored glasses on, but you're still aware of what is, that to me is where you start getting into things like depression, especially when you add, to me, a lot about depression is feeling you don't have the power to affect anything. You're at the mercy of whatever that is that you're perceiving. But again, to me, when you actually are willing to look at what is, that's when you have the capacity to change things, to be no longer the effect of everything around you, but to start being the one who creates effect in the world.
Boy, if I were still a regular psychotherapist, I'd be using that one a lot. That's really good. New effective help for depression. Take off those rose-colored glasses.
Yes, don't come to either Marilyn or I for regular therapy, but you can totally come to us for our own version of a different kind of therapy.
Exactly. Wow, I hadn't thought about that. That is so interesting. The unwillingness to see things as they really are.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's like a catch-22 because there's, which is I think it's an American phrase, but it's basically the idea of, kind of whichever way you turn, you're still caught. Mm-hmm. Because it's like if I have that point of view that I have to try to see the best in things or have the rose-colored glasses on, inherent in that is a belief that if I take them off, disaster is going to occur.
Right.
And so then I don't take off the rose-colored glasses, so I can't ever see what is, so I can't actually change things, and I can't actually,
be effective.
It just keeps going around and around and around and around.
Yeah, and I want to point out something here, because when we were talking about this, I was thinking about Pollyanna, and people tend to lump sort of Pollyanna, now that's an American movie too, with rose-colored glasses, but they're actually not the same thing.
Yeah.
Rose-colored glasses is a denial of what is and a pretense that everything is not what it is and wonderful and great. The whole Pollyanna thing, I rewatched that movie, and she's asking people, what are you glad for today? What she was not saying, don't be aware of what's not working, but she was saying, get into a mode of gratitude. Because that also can take you to, it sounds odd, but it can really take you to a space of being aware of what is.
Yeah.
This has not been an easy week for me with my mom in ICU and all that. And I started to go down the rabbit hole and I went, wait a minute, what am I grateful for? Oh my gosh, she's got a good hospital, a great place to live, great health insurance. She's been to the hospital 4 times in the past month, super duper health insurance. Nice friends. I've got a place to stay and good friends and enough money to take myself out to eat and do whatever's required,
Yeah.
So there's so much. Oh, that helped put things in perspective.
The gratitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helped put things. And it's not rose-colored glasses.
No. Yeah, see, I'm really glad you brought that up because, I totally agree. Rose-colored glasses is a totally different thing than gratitude. And, to me, the whole Pollyanna thing, she also saw the possibilities.
Yes, she did.
Right? And that's a very different space than rose-colored glasses. Rose-colored glasses is pretense. Mm-hmm. I'm not willing to actually see what is. I'm pretending things are all good or all fine or will be if I just do it right or whatever. I think you really hit on it. From rose-colored glasses, there is no awareness.
Right.
From the space of awareness and gratitude, you're willing to be aware of what is. And from that awareness, then you can choose. Well, what would I like to create now? What would I like to create now? What it makes me think of, I had an amazing, actually, we are often dissing traditional therapy. But I had a really good traditional therapist when I was a kid.
Cool.
What the thing I most remember is, I'd be here spinning in my head trying to figure out what do I do and how do I do it to get it right. And what she constantly came back to was, what do you know? What do you know?
That is not a traditional therapist.
That's true. She was a healer in the guise of a traditional therapist.
Most therapists are not saying, what do you know about this?
Yes. And, and she would actually say that to my parents. Like, if they were like, oh, well, what do we do about Pam? And she'd be like, well, have you asked Pam? Pam knows. So, but that idea of what do you know?
Right.
What do you know? Because if you start asking yourself, okay, so what am I aware of? What do I know here? That's a way of cutting through the road. You can have the rose-colored glasses plastered onto your face and put on with super glue, but if you start asking yourself,
an image.
I know, isn't that great? If you start asking yourself questions like, what am I aware of here? If I didn't have on my rose-colored glasses, what would I choose? Mm-hmm. What do I know? It's like all of that not just cuts through and tears them off your face which would be with the glue. That would be really bad.
Really
but
bad.
It actually it disintegrates them.
Yes, they disappear. Well, so here's a question. I'm wondering if partly why people choose rose-colored glasses is because they have lost the awareness that they can know.
Yeah.
That gets spread out of us pretty early on. It's kind of like, you can't know that. Oh, no, your Uncle Jed is not an alcoholic. What are you talking about? He's just tired. He's just sleeping on the weekend,
Right. Because basically there's all kinds of things the adults around you don't want you to know about. And so you're like, hey, what about this? And they're like, oh, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that you can't know.
Yeah.
If they have had that knowing bred out of them and you come up with something like the kids in school who are very aware that they get the answer, but they can't show their work. Mm-hmm. Well, you must have cheated. They don't get that there are people that can they just know. They go from A to P and they don't have to do B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. Yeah. They just know. But we are so made wrong for knowing that most of us shut it down very early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we think, well, the experts have to tell us. So even if we're willing to look at what is, there's this sense of I can't do anything about it unless I read 28,000 self-help books and ask my therapist or my expert or whatever. So anyway, we have done a whole show on experts. Maybe we'll do another one of those. But we're about to go to another break. And this one, we're nailing on time. We'll be right back.
Yay, us.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
If you remember living fearlessly, joyfully, and in a world filled with adventure, happiness, pleasure, and unbridled living, then this show is for you. Join me, Dame Nicole Brandon, as I bring you the world's top experts in wealth, creativity, flow, sea-edging technology, space, wellness, health, love, lust, and passion, all merging together each week here at the Hub of Happiness. Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Passionate Living, where you can ride on the magic carpet ride of living and learn how to lead a passionately wild, exciting, and outrageously amazing life.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business, and share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business.
Come heal yourself. What is healing? Healing is nothing but connecting to your all-knowing higher self that already has solutions to all your problems and is always there to guide you. Through this show, we help you to connect with that you are and help you realize the innate potential you have to heal every aspect of your life. So come heal yourself every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, with your host, Monica Goyal. Namaste.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
We are back, and what I want to know, Pam, is why isn't it purple-colored glasses or, well, lime green colored glasses? I don't know.
Huh, that's a good... I have no idea where that phrase comes from.
It's a very strange thing. We probably should have researched that, but it didn't occur to me until right now, and we're halfway through the radio show.
Quick, I can look it up on my phone.
Hey, you can do that. So one other thing I wanted to bring up about this client I'm working with, this absolutely brilliant creative being, the biggest stumbling block has been that she has to be a good girl, which is, I think of, I'm not sure if it's a variation on the rose-colored glasses or it underlies the rose-colored glasses, but basically what that means is, well, we've talked about this a little bit. She has to see good in everybody, but she also has to treat everybody really well over the top, even if they're screwing her.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just, I asked her, I said, what does being mean to you? And she said, it's like the word did not really exist in her vocabulary.
Right.
And finally, she associated it with a family member that had basically, there was a lot of money, but it all got spent on what they wanted, and, the kids suffered and all of this, and that's selfish and mean, so you have to be a good person and not do that. But all of the conclusionary realities in that, they were so twisted up that they created this box that she really couldn't get out of. So we mentioned a little bit earlier the good, the bad, that they were both judgments. And I think I'd like to take off with that a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, just what if good and bad were purely subjective? And what if mean was purely subjective? I mean, one of the examples I used with her, I said, so what if a child wanted to go play in the street or eat another pound of chocolate candy and you said no? Would you? He would say, you're being mean. But that's just a way of saying it's just from his perspective, from the child's perspective. And mean is all of these words are words about judgments.
Yeah.
What is a good person? What does that even mean?
Well, and a good person would be defined differently for everyone you ask.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
For some it would be, and I just want to go into that a little bit more because I think people don't really get how true that is. A good person could be, if they were Muslim, someone who goes to the mosque and prays 5 times a day, or a Catholic, someone who goes to Mass every day. A good person could be someone who works hard and donates their time for the Republican Party because that's the right way, or the Democratic Party because that's the right way, or serves their country in the military, or protests the military. And all I want to say by that is it's all absolutely arbitrary, and just like the rose-colored glasses, that if you decide you have to be a good person, you immediately cut off all your awareness. Yeah.
Well, one of the ways I like talking about that whole good-bad thing is it's two sides of a coin. Like, anything you talk about, you can look at the two polarities. There's the good and the bad, but you're still stuck on the coin.
Right.
When you come out of that polarity, that's when you can see, oh, I'm going to have a brilliant thought.
All right, go for it.
When you're in the polarity of good and bad, right and wrong, you actually can't see what is, because having to judge and put everything either into the good side of the coin or the bad side of the coin. When you're willing to actually look at what is, there is no coin.
There is no coin. So really, when we say the good, the bad, and the ugly, we just mean seeing what is.
Yeah.
But we add that because it's descriptive, I guess.
Right. Well, because it gives people a starting place.
Yeah.
Most people, if you say, what if there is no good and bad, there just is what is, and then you choose, that can be a bit of a stretch.
And they think you're a weirdo, some kind of spiritual nut You wear long robes and a mala?
I would say we're nuts, but we're not spiritual nuts.
We're just good old nuts.
I think I'm an almond and you're a cashew.
I don't want to be a cashew. I'll be a pistachio. I kind of like pistachios.
Pistachio.
Hard shell, tasty underneath. Anyway, so everywhere you've decided you have to be the good boy or the good girl or the good person, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that times a godzillion?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And that was the access clearing statement that we just used. And you can find out more about it either at accessconsciousness.com or theclearingstatement.com. And it's basically energetically wiping away whatever the point of view is that we're bringing up.
Cool. Hey, I just have to interject something here.
Yes, do so.
Well, you know me, I have to multitask. So while I'm on this, I was just checking my email and it says, and the winner is you. Hi, Marilyn Bradford. Congratulations. You've won. There was a drawing, $1,000 at Jewel Mark. How does it get better than that?
How does it get any better than that?
There were a few things that I wanted. I'm liking this a lot.
And that's such an appropriate thing for you to win because you love jewelry.
I do love jewelry. I do. So sorry about that little interlude, but you know, when you just told you just won $1,000 and everything is on sale for like 60% off to begin with, and it's really good stuff.
So come to Santa Fe, go to Jewel Mark because they're having a closeout sale.
Exactly. They like me anyway because I've taken so many people there. We do digress.
Actually, you know what I wanted to say? I wanted to point out because, you know, you talked about multitasking and you're looking at your email and, you know, okay, this is going to tie into rose-colored glasses because so many people would have the point of view of, oh, we're doing a radio show. We should be focusing on the radio show.
Right.
Well, Marilyn and I are both people who to do just one linear thing is way too slow.
Right, exactly.
Because what you'll find if you actually start using the tools we talk about, your capacity to multitask and to be creating along multiple possibility threads in any given moment, and it actually makes life way more fun and interesting.
Absolutely, and
this
whole idea that
you can do if you've got your rose-colored glasses on.
Well, you better tie that in a little bit more. How come you can't do it with your rose-colored glasses?
Well, so if you've got your rose-colored glasses on, you're all caught up in how things should be and how you think they should be and how you want them to be and not looking at how things are. Well, the ease that you can have with things like multitasking, it actually goes hand in hand with awareness and being willing to see what is.
Yes.
You know, and I can give the example. So if we were both functioning from the point of view that while we're doing the radio show, that's the only thing we could be doing because that's the only way we can do a good radio show if our attention isn't divided and we have to focus really hard. Now, you guys might notice as I'm saying that, does that feel light or is that like, ugh?
Yeah.
To me, it's like, ugh. Right. So rose-colored glasses would be, there is a right way for us to do the show and it has to look this specific way and no room for anything else.
And I'm a good girl. I just focus on the show.
Exactly. Whereas from the space of, wow, you know, I'm actually right now aware of about 5 different projects I have going on. I'm having little thoughts go through my head about each of them, which I'm, you know, and when there's the space and the time, I will pursue that. But it's being willing to be aware of what is. One thing that is I'm fully capable and you're fully capable of doing many things at one time and being many spaces at one time.
And everywhere you were told as a child, all you listeners out there, that you should sit up and focus in school and that you were too distracted and you had too much energy and you were too noisy and asked too many questions and were trying to run around. You know what? Unfortunately, there's a lot of stupid people in the world. And a certain number of them are teachers and certain institutions Like you need to sit up straight and focus on your math and only your math and not talk to Sally and not pass notes to John and not think about your football game or your whatever it is you're going to do. That's crazy. You were not wrong and bad and insane and stupid or anything. It's that it's a ridiculous system that we put kids through. It really is.
Well, that's like, I mean, you know, I was really surprised when my kids got to the age where they were doing homework and stuff, because really how they function best is at least one or two things going on in the background. So they might be like listening to a book on tape or listening to music, and they're doing some work, and they have like several projects sitting around them too. And, you know, people talk about grazing, like eating, going a little from this to that. That's how my kids do homework.
Sure.
Is they graze. They like do this a little bit, they do that a little bit, and then they go to do something else, and they come back to it. And they're actually much more effective that way. And when I had my rose-colored glasses on, I was like, wait, there's a right way to study.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not doing it.
And my students, my children will be brilliant, as a friend of ours said. When my son was born, I knew he was going to be Jesus. But he did turn out to be a carpenter, but that was about the only similarity. Yeah. So did you ever, we only have a few minutes left, but seconds left in this section, but did you ever have rose-colored glasses about your kids, Pam? Since I didn't have kids, I can't talk about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had rose-colored glasses about the joys of parenting and how to parent right, and about how my kids should be. Definitely.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, I got rid of all that very early on, so I don't think I worked with them.
Yeah, I know. I have noticed. I've never seen you with that, but you know, I didn't know you when the kids were really, really little.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I had my fair share of it, totally.
Yeah, we could do a whole show on the rose-colored glasses of family.
Yeah.
However, once again, we're going to break, and we hit it right on the nose.
Good job, Marilyn.
Hey.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know. I've tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Are you ready to shift your energy, consciousness, and limiting beliefs? Join me, Shefali Burns, every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Shifting with Shefali here on OMTimes Radio. Shift the blocks, limitations, and negative energies that have kept you from experiencing a life filled with joy, peace, love, abundance, and happiness. Are you ready to shift with Shefali? Are you ready to shine your brilliance?
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
And we are back. Myself, Marilyn Bradford, and Pam Hoatling of the Irreverent Therapists, and we are talking about the rose-colored glasses. And one of the things that I was thinking about during that break, Pam, was that we have essentially institutions that are described through rose-colored glasses. I was thinking of family, military. Family and military were the two that came to mind. Oh, yeah, religion.
Let's see, what else? Probably just about any construct we come up with. A rose-colored version.
Yeah, I happen to be reading while I'm here, seeing my mom, and whatever it is, it's an interesting space to be in because I don't have my regular stuff around me. But anyway, I'm reading a bunch of English novels that are set right after World War I. And I think this is why I probably thought about military, because the difference between the flashbacks of the soldiers signing up and going off in their shiny uniforms and then, coming back 5 years later with the horrors that they've seen and mutilated and that kind of thing. And it's like, wow, we really sell, and I'm not trying to pick on the military. We'll sell family. We sell school. We sell religion. We sell these things, and we try to get people to look at them and sign up for them through rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
Never saying what actually is.
That makes me think of something. Oh, what's the guy's name? 20 years ago, he used to interview all kinds of people. He's the one who did Joseph Campbell and The Power of Myth.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. And did he die recently?
Oh, I don't know. But anyway,
yes.
He was a wonderful interviewer and he did all kinds of things. And he did a series on PBS that, the one that I really remember, it was about perceiving and our ability to, critically analyze what we're perceiving. And what he talked about was that we've evolved to be able to be very, when we read something, we will, kind of have filters and be able to look at it. And I'm going to use words like judge and discern and stuff like that, which goes right back to the good and bad coin. But basically, when it comes to visual images like commercials, we don't filter it the same way. So when something like a fast food restaurant has a commercial about come eat at this fast food restaurant and there's this happy family, if they wrote it, you'd be like, well, eating this food isn't going to make my family a happy family.
Right.
But when you see the images, it goes into your system like, oh, if I eat at this place, it's going to make my family happy.
That's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I'm not quite sure how that goes with rose-colored glasses, but in the moment I thought that it's connected.
Yeah, it is. It's something. It's our desire to believe or believe what we see.
Yeah.
Oh, I talked to her about that my father was a scientist and nothing was real if you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Basically, which isn't to say he didn't believe in atoms and all that, but you could see those.
Prove it to me.
Yeah, how much are we raised to believe that what we see is real? And if you can't see it, it's not real. Like you can't know what you know.
And that if you can see it, then it is real. And so you're not, where Marilyn and I would go to is ask yourself questions. If you're seeing this commercial and you start feeling like, ooh, if I eat at that restaurant, all my life will be fine. You can ask yourself questions like, is that true?
What insanity does that belong to?
So.
Well, and I think another thing about this is that sometimes people share, this goes along with religion and family and all of that, they'll share their rose-colored glasses reality with their kids or with their parishioners or, everything's going to be okay in heaven.
Well, and if you don't buy my rose-colored reality, then you're wrong, or you don't care about me, or you don't love me, or that kind of stuff.
Right. Oh, wow. Ouch. Everything that is, can we destroy and create it times a godzillion?
Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod, poc, all night in shorts, boys and beyonds. So we've been talking, I think we've probably got people pretty much on board on the whole rose-colored glasses thing. I want to make sure we kind of highlight some of the ways of, getting, busting through the rose-colored glasses and getting rid of them.
Yeah. So I think one of the things is that our discussion about good and bad. So you can ask yourself, if I weren't judging this person and what they do as good or bad, what would I be aware of about them?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. What do I actually know? What would I be aware of if I wasn't trying to put it in a category of good or bad?
Mm-hmm. And I would say in general, just asking questions. And, you might have heard Marilyn and I talk about this. There's questions that are loaded with point of view and judgment, and those aren't truly questions. So if I'm asking myself, what the hell's wrong with me? I've already judged that there's something wrong with me, and I'm trying to identify.
Today. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm not creating the way I should be.
Right. So when you're going to that space of what the hell's wrong with me, you've already judged that something's wrong with you, and you're trying to discover what it is so you can fix it. Right? A different question, something that truly is a question, is it's open-ended. When you ask it, you feel lighter and more expansive. So, if I asked, okay, so if you the example Marilyn gave, if I wasn't judging this, what would I be aware of?
Yeah.
What is this? What can I do with it? Can it change? If so, how do I change it? There's no judgment in any of those questions. They're just questions. And when you start to ask them, it's like, it's not just taking off the rose-colored glasses. It's destroying and uncreating them like they never were there. And you can start to see much more clearly what is. Or actually, let me not say see. Start to be aware of much more clearly what is.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the one place almost none of us have any rose-colored glasses is about our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you quit judging your body and you were willing to see what was and be grateful for it? You might actually be able to change things that aren't working for you and your body.
Yeah. Another thing I think of, one of our tools, and Marilyn and I are both Access Consciousness facilitators, and the tools we're talking about on our show are from Access Consciousness. One of the other tools I think of, Marilyn, is who does this belong to?
Oh, good one.
We talked about you're buying all your family's rose-colored glasses and the society's rose-colored glasses. And so, if you find yourself, feeling like you're just all caught in trying to look at things as good or bad, who does this belong to? Because you truly be, without the rose-colored glasses, you're aware, you are the space of question. And so a lot of times asking, who does this belong to? If it lightens up, means it's not really yours, you're buying it from somebody else. And just that awareness will start to change things.
Yeah, I've been working on the opposite, basically, but it's the same principle because there's so much depression and upset in the retirement center and in the hospital and everything. It's so solidified. I was like about crawling on the floor. That's all, I'm going to die. It's like, wait a minute, Marilyn, who does this belong to? Oh, it's not mine at all.
Yeah.
And one thing to remember is it's very helpful if you find yourself stuck in somebody else's rose-colored glasses or somebody else's rabbit hole or whatever, and you figure out, you're asking, who does this belong to? Get yourself physically in a different environment for a while, preferably in nature, because there's no judgment in nature. There's no rose-colored glasses.
You mean the birds don't wake up and go, oh, I've got my rose-colored glasses on today.
Everything's going to be wonderful, and that hawk is not going to eat me because I'm going to flutter my wings in just the right way. Yeah, so you really want to change your environment because that can actually help you see that it's not yours.
Yeah.
And if it's particularly intense, like what you are in a hospital or something like that, then you really want to get out of nature and change your environment. So what other tools do we have? We have time for one or two more.
One or two more. Oh, let's see. We have thousands. Which one should we pick? I would say come out of judgment of yourself.
Oh, I think that's a good one.
Yeah. Because when you're judging yourself, you're totally in that good, bad, right, wrong space. And it's almost like you have your black colored glasses on instead of your rose colored glasses, but it's still a filter and it's still affecting you. And you come out of judgment of yourself, one, just by acknowledging it. And you can use the clearing statement that we've used a few times here on the show, right and wrong, good and bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyond, as simply as everywhere I'm judging myself, destroy and uncreate it, times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, Marilyn, what are we doing next week?
Next week, we're doing In Sickness and in Health. And boy, I've been looking at that. We are going to have some very different ways of asking questions about that. It's like, what is sickness? What is health? Commitments do you make to others? What commitments do you make to yourself? I'm probably writing up the description as we talk.
Yeah, as soon as we hang up, type it up and send it to me, and I'll submit it.
Sometimes we do these months in advance, and sometimes we do these on the fly.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're very glad you all have joined us for this rose-colored glasses things. And we actually suggest, I think we ought to have like a rose-colored glasses collection plate. Everybody can throw them in and we'll just...
we can burn them.
Yeah, we'll burn them. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you next week.